It's way easier doing it on that than it is that.
Okay. All right.
And you got a Mac, so you can log into everything on it, and it's all synced together, and it just seamlessly transfers.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Rock and roll.
We are going to rock and roll. Welcome back to the Areopagus, everybody. We have a full crew today. We haven't had this
Yeehaw.
in a few weeks. That's kind of nice. If Eddie's idea goes through, we might start to see some new faces.
I hope so.
That would be nice to get some new perspective and give y'all a chance that y'all don't have to come each week, which I appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have no idea how much I appreciate y'all's time, but it would give y'all a break and stuff. I mean, like, that y'all just divvy out who's coming and who's not. But like I said, I thank y'all again for being here. We do have a full house again. For those of you watching, if you enjoy our content we make and the things we discuss, please like, share, and subscribe so we can get this channel to grow. I think we're at 61 subscribers now, which is not bad.
Not bad at all.
I'm liking that. It's definitely come a long way. So we are growing. We are reaching new people, and so I just want that growth to and 2 women continue. And 2 women continue. For today's topic, we were discussing a few things, and before we got started, I kind of sent out the text kind of late. I don't even remember if it was Friday. I think I sent it out yesterday about topics. But I've had a very long past few weeks with my kids and all that, but hopefully we're going to get all that squared away. But I'm trying to fill in a couple of weeks with a topic here and there before we start our sermon on the Mount series. I think that one will be a really good walkthrough of just the fact that Jesus preached the first time to the masses, and everything he lays out in that sermon is just phenomenal wisdom and knowledge, and we can all gain from. But today, for about a week or so now, I've been having a verse in my head that I told them and these guys about, that I can't shake, but I haven't had time or made time, whichever route you want to go, to really dive into the verse. But the verse is John chapter 14, verse 6, where Jesus is talking to Thomas, and he tells him in verse 6, he says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And that verse has been just, I can't shake it. I don't know why. I know there's a purpose, because God does nothing without a purpose. He doesn't plant things for us without purpose. I'm just hoping that y'all three can help me figure out that purpose, because it's driving me crazy. I know that in the past I've had people tell me that, all religions are just a different side of the same mountain, and they all lead to heaven, and you have these people who drive around with these coexist stickers, which is generally just a bunch of false prophets and false teachings. And Christ says it point blank. I mean, you can't get any more clear. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. I hear of no other religion that makes that claim.
That's because they don't. It's
And
works versus faith. And I think Scripture is very clear on that. But Jesus is either who he said he was or he's not. There's not anything in between. There's nothing partial about him. He is who he says he is. And he's the way, he's the truth, and he's the life. And if he's not that, then he's nothing. And all this is in vain. So,
well, a preacher we had, it just dawned on me, a preacher we used to have here, he did this sermon. Now, as far as specifics on the sermon, I can't tell you. It'll be pretty obvious when I cut and when I say when I say the title of where the sermon went, but it was titled something along the lines is Jesus Lord, a liar, or a lunatic? And depending on your background, you're going to get one of those three. For me, he's Lord. Without question, he is Lord and my salvation. But you look at these different religious base, like I'm a Muslim, well, he was just a good prophet. Or you look at the Latter-day Saints or the Mormons, they all talk about him. I think almost every religious group out there and will acknowledge Christ, just not as the Messiah.
And not as God.
Or, yeah, and not as God.
Right.
And I don't know if there's someone specific that this episode is supposed to touch, or if there's someone specific I'm supposed to be talking to. I pray I haven't missed that opportunity, because now I'm going to feel like you did your last night in Albania. But I just can't get past the bluntness that Christ tells to Thomas. Just how clear he lays it out.
well, he also asked him a question.
Well, yes, Thomas
Okay,
did ask
he
a
sets
question.
it up. He says, let your heart not be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. I go to my Father's house. We all know those things. And I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go prepare a place for you, I will come again, bring you unto myself, and that where I may be, you may be also. And then he says this, and you know the way to where I'm going. Pretty blank, pretty solid statement, unequivocal. But I think back to teaching that I did as part of my career, and I've said it to y'all in class. You know the answer to this. Sometimes I just don't ask the right question, or sometimes you don't see it captured in the right way to access the information in your brain. But you know these things, and Jesus says to them, "Okay, you've been with me. You know the way I'm going." But Thomas still says, "Lord, we don't have a clue. Where are you going? How can we know the way?" And so Jesus made it even more clear. condensed, here it is. I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. And no one comes to the Father except through me. And if you had known me, you would have known my Father also. From now on, you do know him, and you have seen him. So just to be clear, you do know him, you've seen him, you know the way, Thomas. And it's pretty blunt.
Mm-hmm.
I know it wasn't said in any kind of ugly fashion,
No.
but Jesus, I can see Jesus looking right at him saying, you know this. Now we just got to access it. And
Mhm.
Jesus accessed it for him.
Well, he was also preparing a group of people. All of this was rather new. All of this was new to them. And when I say them, I mean the 12. So, he was being a guide to this stuff. I mean, we're in the 14th chapter of John. We got a few more chapters to go before he starts heading towards Jerusalem and all of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
So these are kind of the last things that he's teaching this group of people, and I can just imagine how befuddled or befuddling some of this stuff is. Because I know they heard chirping the whole time, right? What are y'all doing, you idiots? You following this crazy dude around? What are you doing? And then they see Jesus walk on water and raise dead people and cure leopards, and lame man jumps up and somebody cuts a hole in the roof and
He makes mud from his own spit.
and puts it on somebody's eyes, and now they can see. I mean, and I can imagine and hear these people, these religious people that are around him, and at one point they want to throw rocks at him and kill him, and then he just kind of disappears from the crowd. He ain't even there anymore. So I can imagine how befuddled they were about some of the things that they were seeing, and and then Jesus, most of the times, not talking, not going, well, this is how the cow ate the cabbage cats. He's going like this, through all of this teaching, and sometimes they had to just stop him and go, we have no idea what you're telling us. Please spell it out. We're stupid. We're fishermen. We're tax collectors. We can count money, and we can catch fish. We're stupid. Tell us. And I think that this is one of the places where they were just befuddled and going, you're going someplace and there's a house and I don't understand. And I think Christ was going, okay, time out.
Well, that's
I am
one
the
thing
way.
you said, Eddie, that I kind of disagree with. You said that he didn't really say it in an annoyed or mean manner, and in fact, I think he kind of getting aggravated, with his apostles and his disciples, because he said, Lord, said Philip, show us the Father, and that'll be enough for us. You just show us the Father, and we're good. And Jesus said, have I not been with you all this time, and you still don't know me, Philip? I think he was getting aggravated. And I've always thought about the story of him in the garden that, when he's asking his Father to take this cup from me, and he's crying and he's praying so hard. I don't think it's that he's worried about what's going to happen to him. I think he was worried that we haven't still got it, and he's not ready to leave until he's sure we got it. We understand the assignment. And, so I think there is what's funny is there are times where you can hear the annoyance in his voice going, you know, when they asked him, well, why couldn't we cure that the guy with the seizures, you know, the kid with the seizures? And he's like, oh, you have little faith. I mean, come on. How
Well,
many
you
times
know-
do I got to go over this?
You know, I saw a video last night that really got me thinking about the first century way of life and culture and things like this, and it brought up Christ and the 12.
Mhm.
And it was talking about, you know, when all these great motifs we have, all these paintings, all these exonerating things of Christ and the 12, they all look like old men. Well, in reality, if Jesus was around 30, give or take, I don't know the scripture, but when it came time to pay taxes, he only got enough for him and Peter. Well, Peter is the only one we know to be married. Well, Andrew and John were still working for their dad. Matthew was 18 to 20, give or take, because he was working on his own. But it went back into how Jewish men in the first century, around the age of 18, were pushed to get married. You couldn't have your own business. You still worked for your family until you were 18. So John and Andrew were mid-teens probably, along with Philip and the rest of them. These weren't 30, 40-year-old men. They were kids, essentially. I mean, and so it got me thinking, and now, and like, I mean, you said you think he was annoyed because you get past 7, and he goes, have you not been among me?
Mm-hmm.
Have you not been watching? How have you missed this?
Well,
And so it kind of makes more sense in that respect to me.
well, there again, if these are younger people, now if he would have been talking to Paul or Saul of Tarsus, I think it would have been a different conversation, right?
Right.
Because
And
he was scholarly. He was scholarly.
Saul was probably around his age, if not maybe a little bit older.
Right, but what I'm saying is what is the conversation being had, and who is he talking to? If he is in fact talking to people that are intellectually not as
Mature.
right, then those kind of things to me, I don't read Jesus as being, annoyed with them. I read it as Jesus using the Socratic method. Wait a minute, you know the answer, it's inside you.
Like he
How have you missed this? Because you should have seen this. If you saw me heal and cast out and
all these miraculous things.
you should have known that now you're looking at the Father. So how did you miss that? So I
They
see.
didn't just miss that. He sent them out 2 by 2. They went and did it for themselves.
Well, there again. I mean, yeah, there were some times
And
where
you
where
even
he
have to
said,
think
right.
it took Thomas until after the resurrection to even get it.
going
It's like,
going like
dude,
this.
look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So Thomas, yeah, there again, doubting Thomas gets his name,
earnestly,
yeah. So, but there again, I think it's the audience. Now back to our verse. I mean, that's a very exclusive verse.
oh, it's very exclusive, and and in our have to be inclusive culture,
This
That's-
isn't one of these verses.
right?
Well,
This
maybe
is
that-
left out of a lot. of
Well, and
things.
maybe that's part of what, in light of some of the things that have happened over the past month-ish or so, maybe that's why this is more to the point, because I think, there again, I hate to be cliche, but, we're supposed to be in the world, not of the world, right? Okay, well, we have to have the ability to be able to go places and do things to be able to affect people's lives. Because there again, if all that we do is stay in the four walls of our church, I mean, that's okay. We should be disciplined, discipling one another, right? But if we're not going out there making those disciples, right? So if we're not going out there finding the next set
Mhm.
of disciples that we're going to disciple, then we're not doing some of our job. So
Right.
so there again, we have to understand that we have some exclusivity in the claims that we make, which there again comes back to the binary of Jesus, right? He either is or he isn't.
Mhm.
He isn't a maybe, and he isn't a could be, and he isn't a should be. He's a is or an isn't. So you got two choices.
Right.
You either accept him as he is, or you reject him because you think he's either a lunatic or a liar.
Right. What you find out on age?
Well, I took a quick look, and it seems that some general consensus is between the ages of 13 and 30, with possibly Paul being older
Mhm.
by a little bit, but also looking at the ages at which these guys died. John dying in his 80s or 90s,
90s,
somewhere
yeah.
along in there, and going back, and we know pretty much when he died and back to here, so he was pretty much this age.
Right.
Being 13 to 15 years old, you're old enough to be under a rabbi,
Mhm.
and actually go out and follow
Follow
him.
one.
Right.
Right.
And started their schooling, not the rabbinical school, but just going to church, synagogue. Thank you, that was the right word. At about the age of 3 to 5, and then you could go along, and you could, by the time you're 13 to 15, you could get a rabbi and follow along, go out and do things. So, John being the youngest, probably
13 to 15
13
years
to 15
of age.
years of age, and
And
then
the rest were in between him and
mostly like 20s,
Early
early 20s,
20s.
late teens,
Yeah.
early 20s
Okay.
to not even 30. But also, you got to take into the fact that Jesus sometimes called them my little children.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just a term of affection?
I think it was more of a term of endearment than it was.
A literal term.
Right.
Well, a little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, I think it has some of both in it, but it
Well-
was an affectionate
Right.
term.
Well, because I think that he used that comparison often between somebody who was mature, and somebody who was less mature. So,
Well, and a lot of guys, like, it took my dad and my mom and every aunt and uncle I had lining me up, taking care of business at some point in time in their life. But sometimes we have to learn by just getting the sap beat out of us by life. And that's how we learn our lessons.
Yep.
And maybe these guys, even though they followed Jesus, they saw these things, they were witness to the greatest event and the crux of history, how it
Yeah,
turns
human
on Jesus
history.
Christ. Yet they didn't have the ability to be aware of that's what it was.
well,
They didn't have the ability to look back and see that. They had the ability to look back and see their own history because they had been taught it, assumingly. But Yeah, so they had to be teens, late teens to
Early
early
20s.
20s.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I can see the exasperation. And,
maybe that's just me. I mean, I'm hip to the comment but I really think that it was more of him going, where are not you getting this? Let me clarify.
well, and it was a righteous
Sure,
approach,
sure.
obviously.
sure.
And just like Jesus driving out the money changers in anger, it was a righteous anger. It was a holy anger. And Jesus understood
Well, he
the
can judge.
consequences.
Well, he can judge.
He can.
Right.
And
So I see it as judgment. I don't see it as anything but that.
see, it's stuff that I can't do in class. You just go, "Are you out of your mind? What is wrong with you?"
You
Well,
could.
you could
You
with us.
could.
We probably wouldn't get too mad at you. But
Because you go, "That's mostly true." So okay, we'll accept
We,
it.
I mean, we might look at you funny, but
But I mean, to your point, yeah, he could have been a little bit exasperated or irritated with them and going, look, you dense fisherman, smack, line them up like the Three Stooges.
well, and
Mo
well,
slap 'em.
it's got me thinking. You look me hearing what I heard about the age range, you confirming and dumbing the age range. With them and Wyatt. Wyatt is 14 years old. I'm sure. I don't remember when I was 14 years old, and it wasn't that far away compared to y'all's.
Yeah.
Lots
So,
of pimples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember something about that. Yeah.
but I know that I get exasperated with Wyatt. It's
Sure.
not that I'm angry or mad or frustrated. It's just like, come on, kid.
Yeah. Well, there again, don't you get it?
Just
yeah.
you know this.
No,
It's
you-
nothing
you
new.
Know it. You know there's a hint of frustration there because you tell them, how many times have I told you, just quit playing trash can Jenga and just pull it up and walk it outside. It'll take 2 seconds out of your life.
I just want him to get the Gatorade bottles off his nightstand. If
We'll
we can
see.
do that,
See?
it'll be.
And how many times have you told him?
I tell him at least once a week.
So Jesus run around performing these things that no human being has ever seen before, can't believe their eyes. Then he gives them the power to do it themselves. They go out and do it.
And then question why they can't do it.
And then, still are like, now wait, you're leaving and what? I mean, if he got mad enough to form a whip and go drive people out of the temple, yeah, I imagine he was probably getting a little tired of humanity at that point.
He understood the necessity, and he understood the time frame, the limited time frame, and he understood, these guys have got to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
also- but
he
trusted
had a
that they were
lot of
going
work
be.
to do in 3 years.
Well, I want to go back to the coexist thing because I've heard that a lot. Now, it depends on how you want to coexist, right? So if the coexist claims in the philosophical sense that all religions are equal, right? I would disagree with
Mhm.
that because of this claim right here. If Jesus is the way, in other words, there is, and there again, if you look it up in the Greek, it's a definite article. It's not ambiguous.
Right.
It's the. So
Yeah, it's the way. That's the way.
Right.
That's how it's referred to in a lot of Paul's letters because it was completely new, and so it was the way.
well, so there again, somebody can't say, well, it's a way, right? So
Mhm.
if we're talking about coexisting as equal footing, and all religions get us to the same place, I disagree with
No.
the
No.
I disagree with the coexist. Now, if we're talking about coexisting, that, you know, I'm not going to climb up on a building and shoot you at 150, 125 yards because I disagree with what you say, right? So, you know, we need to coexist, right? We need to find a way to, you know, I don't know that I've ever liked the term, but I mean, it seems cliche now to say it, but we got to learn to, you know, disagree agreeably. But
Agree to disagree?
yeah. So if we're talking about the coexist more from a, and I hate to say this, you know, kind of a kumbaya, everybody get along kind of thing. Well, I think that, you know, there's a sentiment there that I could tip my hat to.
But you still have a responsibility as a Christian beyond that, and you know
Oh,
this,
sure.
to go to them and
Correct.
speak the
Right.
gospel to them.
Right. So
And,
so challenge them like they would challenge me.
and to live out your Christian life and your
Right,
sanctification in front of them as Christ would.
Right, but as opposed to somebody chopping off my head because I'm not going to, you know, to agree with, you know, Muslims, and or somebody bulldozing my house down because I disagree with, you know, Hinduism. So when we're talking about those things, that's where I go. If that's how you want to act, then we can't coexist, right? If you're going to crawl up on a building and shoot somebody who you disagree with, then I don't think that we can coexist.
No.
So then what do we do as Christians, right? So how do we live this in a place where we can't coexist? I mean, now that's more of a hypothetical, but so how do we live this in a place where we can't coexist? I've heard some people take some pretty, in my opinion, pretty aggressive stances. So to me, the coexist thing, you know, that comes with this verse here, you know, kind of raises my eyebrows and goes, okay, well, what are we going to do with this? Because we're in a conundrum, right? We're not going to or we shouldn't compromise our standard in the light of, you know, in the light of somebody disagreeing with me, or I'm going to chop off your head because you don't agree with me.
But that means you got to know where to stand. But my
Sure,
mind leaps there, and that's one of the reasons we're doing what we do in our Sunday school class
Sure.
as we go through all this doctrine and go deeper and deeper and try to be closer to God's heart.
Right.
And we got to be able to speak our belief,
Mm-hmm.
say it in a way that's it's as clear as we can get it, and we plant that just like we were doing over in Albania and Macedonia just 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And it's unbelievably. But we plant those seeds, or we water them, or whatever we're going to do, and God takes care of the rest of it.
Right.
And because we're not going to be there to see it
Right.
through. So we are responsible to learn. I think as much as we can to be able to speak it articulately as best we can. Not everybody speaks with sufficient flow of speech.
Sure.
But we need to share where we can. That's our responsibility, and then God is responsible for the rest of it.
Well, I've heard some people that are a whole lot less articulate than even I can be, do a whole lot better job than I think that I have at articulating the gospel and going out there and doing it. I mean, I've been looking real critically at myself and, you know, what I've been doing as a Christian. So, you know, and there again, this verse hits home to that. If he is the way, the truth, and the life, then his truth should be my truth. His life should be my life, and I should be trying to live that. You know, I should be trying to live that. Okay, so am I or am I not?
Well, I didn't share this with y'all this morning, but I had another, and I've shared them before. I had another Lowe's experience of sharing Jesus with
Cool.
people in the aisles at Lowe's. And Mary and I were in there, and they had up their Halloween stuff and 30-foot skeletons, and then they had all the stuff out from the Snoopy, Charlie Brown Christmases,
Yeah,
and they had Bumbles and the little guy that was the dentist and all that kind of stuff, and on those Frosty the Snowman
yeah,
cartoons. All that stuff was out.
Hmm.
And these people were looking at that, okay, Christmas, happy, even though they weren't showing Jesus, and they turned over on this side and they looked at all this celebrating death and all that stuff, and they were just shaking their heads. So I took opportunity
mm-hmm.
and to share and did. We're just responsible to take those times
Sure.
that are available to us. So, and sometimes there's a swing and a miss. You brought it up a while ago. I missed a guy over in Albania that last night we were on Pogadesh. I should have gone back. I shouldn't have left him,
Sure.
but I thought it was going to be okay. And the further away I walked, no, I had turned around. When I turned around, he wasn't there anymore. And I chased him off into the darkness out
Right.
of the streets. I couldn't find him. It really upset me that I had let that go.
Yeah.
And
Well, I get that. And I'm wondering if those things shouldn't hurt.
well, it did.
I mean, because it ought to remind us the next time. I mean, Eddie, you know, I love you to death, and I didn't, but it should trigger something visceral in us that says, I don't want to feel that again.
No, I don't.
And I don't want to miss that opportunity again. And that should be a cattle prod, zapping us to, to do right. So,
It got me pretty good. So
well, you've opened up about 30 books.
Okay, well, I was looking up the way, and
Mhm.
apparently, this Englishman's Greek concordance of the New Testament doesn't line up with my Strong's concordance, because the word "way" for our scripture is number 3598, and this one doesn't have a 3598. So I was just doing some looking at, what
well,
the different
mine right here
meanings.
is 3598 as well. So let's just compare here.
So
You-
That's part of the reason
I
why.
don't either.
Actually, I have the Strong's Concordance, but never use it.
I had one until I discovered it was actually Jeremy's. I gave it back to him this week.
Heather had wrote something real nice in the front, and it was before we got married.
And she was being nice then. She really was. But I took it out to use it, and I'm going, well, there's my Strong's Concordance. I opened it up. Some chick named Heather's writing in this book. It was,
And from 2007.
The used bookstore.
So I got. Oh, wait a minute. Am I wrong here? 3598.
Mm-hmm. That's what mine is.
3598 is HOTUS.
Yes.
Apparently, and this is what it says in here. So this is part of the reason why I like this. This is the Keyword Study Bible. So it's got Greek and Hebrew keywords in it, and there's a lexicon in the back.
I mean, there's a whole section.
Yeah, so you got a book and a half, and actually I got a pretty good one over here. So I go from, well,
It's just a
yours?
different and it just explains.
You only got 20 minutes left. What does it mean?
okay, so apparently,
No overtime.
I'm reading it. Does yours say this? Apparently, a primary word, a road, a progress.
A road? Is that 2 words, a road?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Like a road.
By
Yeah, like, I'm
implication,
going that way.
a progress, the route, act, or distance, figurative, a mode or means, going, journey, path, place.
A traveler's way,
Yeah. Okay, so I think you're there.
a way of thinking,
Yeah.
of righteousness, of God, the way instructed and approved by God.
I'm trying to find it here. They got it listed out.
There's a lot.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, Nick's a freaking deck
Yeah,
of cards.
deck
of
See?
cards.
I mean, look at all that. That's all going off of.
But
Yes.
none of the definitions you read were like, oh, really? They were all, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No way.
well, yeah. I was just seeing if there was something.
Well, one.
Aha moment.
Okay, so
Why did you
one.
look up Hodos?
Hodo.
Because that's
That's
the
from Game of Thrones.
right here. That's what the way. That's the number it gave. I mean, when I looked up.
When you look up word up here.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Well, if you look,
Yeah,
if you
right
look at it,
there.
look. So right here is way. Wait, where is it?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. So there's way, and there's the Strong's number for it.
Okay,
And
so we got
there's the lexicon.
4 degrees plus. We've got
Right.
all this knowledge.
I only
and,
have 1 degree.
You know, we got 4 or 5 between us, and so we're good.
I have 1.
I'm trying to figure this one out.
Yeah,
So this
I've
is-
never used a concordance, so I'm not real sure.
Well, I've used them, but not the ones that had the all the Greek and stuff in them too.
Yeah, this one has the Hebrew and the Greek. It just depends on if you're an Old Testament or New.
I'm an Old Testament guy.
Yeah, you already
So-
stole it once. Get
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah. Well, this is a different one.
Yeah, I
You
can borrow
got
this for
2 of them?
So Heather, like I said, she bought it in 2007 before we got married.
Right.
So in one of our moving extenses, it probably got packed up somewhere and gone. Well, I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Didn't know where it was. So when I began school back in 22, I bought one because I figured it was important. Never opened it, but I figured it would be something good to have. I really don't know how to use it, but it kept saying Strong's concordance and stuff, so I bought one. A few months later, I find it. We were actually at her grandmother's old house. We're going through a bunch of stuff, and it was in a box with a bunch of our other books. I guess it was in storage, and our storage got emptied into her grandmother's house. We went through it from there and offset it, which
Yeah.
is why it was over there.
That's the reason I've got one, is because I had watched a video and it said that a word in the Bible didn't translate exactly that way, that, you know, they manipulated it to say that. So I bought one, pull it up, where's the Greek word at? There's the Greek word, there's the definition. I'm like, you'd have to do some serious juggling to make that mean what you said. That video cost me $30, and it's over on the bookshelf, and I've never pulled it down again yet. I'm like,
So-
if I'm that confused, I'm going to pray on that word.
So,
And I haven't been confused again, so that's a
when we
waste of
found
$30.
when we found it, I brought it up here and stuck it on my shelf. And this one was at home. Well, in class one day, he asked about a
Mhm.
concordance.
I remember when
So
you
I
come and got
came
up in
here,
class,
got
got
it.
it, and brought it back to
Well,
him.
I guess he took it home. I didn't
did.
realize he took it home.
Well, yeah.
And
Stuck in
so
my bag, Jack.
Well, got me a new acquisition. That's gonna look mighty fine.
And so, well, needless to say, it had some writing in it
Yeah.
that I had forgot about that he came across.
What is this, man? He had to explain it to me. Well,
So
anyway, so we're meanwhile back at the ranch.
Well,
We're
well,
looking at
actually,
these things.
it does specifically say something here. So if you look in my particular version of it, it has it categorized. So Roman numeral 1
yours
in
is laid out better than this.
in
one
respect to
is.
place, away, highway, road, street. Then I got an A, B, C, D, and then I go to Roman numeral 2. So if I look here at D under Roman numeral 1, it's spoken by Jesus as the way, i.e., the author and medium of access to God in eternal life. John 14:6.
Okay.
So it references the meaning
Specifically.
right.
Scott,
So-
close your book and turn it to where Jeremy can see the spine. That way he can take a picture and see what he needs to order
So-
next.
No.
So it's definitely the way.
Yes.
Right.
All right, so
I think he
now that
said
we're
it's the way.
Now 20 minutes later. Well, but he was running around looking at books, and I wasn't gonna. There was
No,
no
I was
way I was
just-
going to stop. You know,
No.
without.
was just-
we beat that word to death.
I was just looking at
Nothing
what
else
I
but
had,
thorough.
trying to figure
Right.
it out. That's just like I said. This is probably the first time this particular book's been opened.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, the
probably
spine
even
looks
butchered
pretty
the Greek on that. But
But
it does look like Hodus. Yeah, Hodus to me. So
Hodos.
With the
Yeah.
Texas accent.
Hodo.
Greek
Yeah.
with the Texas accent. That's right.
Yeah.
Don't maybe break out the y'all Bible again.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got it bookmarked.
I mean it's HODOS with the little half smile above and
A schwa.
Hodos, because there's a
Hodis,
Hodus.
I think.
Is it
Hodis.
Greek or Hebrew?
That's Greek.
Okay.
Hodus.
I
It's
don't
got
know.
the little
I
dash.
was gonna say if it's Hebrew, you got to do a hakalam to get that H out. The hottest.
But anyways, so that's part of the reason why I particularly like this Bible, because
That is neat though. That it's
There's
got a
times
concordance in
But
it.
he's staring at it. You go
Yeah.
order one.
I
You
don't
watch.
need another Bible. I just finally got my NASB on Thursday,
Oh,
and
nice.
so I don't need another. I
Which-
don't need another Bible.
Which one did you
Grace and Truth. It was the only one I could find at Mardell's that was the 1995 edition. So,
get? Well,
Is
it's
that
one
the
of
year or the price?
The year.
the year.
After 1995, it gets a little inclusive language added to it.
if you see an NASB that says second edition, it's the 2020 version, and it changes a lot of the verbiage to an inclusive languaging.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but
So what is it? The 77, 95, and then
the 2020, yeah.
Right, and then is that the first of the 77, or is there one before that one even?
I don't know.
Which I've got that 15. Is it 15.99? The Pilgrim's Bible.
The Geneva Bible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Geneva
I got a
Bible.
Geneva Bible.
I do too.
So where are we on the way? The truth, and the life?
$15.99 edition.
We figured out the way is the way.
Okay, we got the way figured out. What about
Hey,
the truth?
if you don't know how to get to God, you follow the way, which is Jesus.
I'll get you some Hodus going.
Hocus pocus.
What is it now?
And we were
let's see what
standing on a
John-
Roman Hodus.
Yeah, we were.
John
we
6
were.
says in it.
We stood on a Roman road and a Roman bridge. Well, he did.
Mhm.
on the Roman bridge.
Was it really a Roman, like,
Oh yeah, there's only two structures, Roman-built bridges in Europe existing anymore.
And
One of
he
them,
stood on one of them.
and he's on one of them.
That's pretty
and,
cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
one
old
is somewhere
stuff.
else,
You
but
missed
this one
last time, and
just right north of
it'll
where
air in
we
a
were
couple
staying.
weeks.
Yeah.
You'll get to watch it. But I want to go back to that coexist thing you brought up again.
Hey, hang on just real quick, because I'm here. So 14.6, back in
$15.99.
15.99, it's almost completely different. Wait, there we go. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, and the truth. Oh, he's saying, and that life.
And that life,
Yeah. So he says, Jesus said unto him, I am that way, that life, and that truth.
like you're answering a question, who's the way, the truth, and the life? What's that?
Well, that's
I'm that way.
that way.
I'm that way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
that life. I
No
don't know,
man
that's,
cometh unto the Father but by me. There, see? Now we put it to bed. It was the same 400 years ago.
Okay,
right,
go
moving
ahead.
right along.
So the coexist.
I liked it.
Yeah, I bought this. I don't even remember why I bought it. I found it on Facebook. It popped up, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
I bought it because they
Bye.
said all the translations that all the people that say the translations are wrong and that they're
Uh-huh.
all convoluted and all this.
This is the oldest.
This predates it, so I got that Bible, and even though I can't stand reading Old English, I'd go and read it and go, it says the same thing. You bunch of liars. Y'all costing me money. That's a devil right
Another
there.
30 bucks.
Hey, dummy. Hey, this one says
Well,
this.
this one
Get on
I think
Amazon and see
was
if you
like
can find
$15,
it.
so I didn't spend a lot on that one. But
Well, the only
And-
reason why I brought up the coexist is because most of the times, from a Christian standpoint, I always hear the defense, an argument against that particular bumper sticker as that. And
Well-
I think that's the reason why you brought it up.
well, and it kind of comes to, I've talked to people. I actually didn't engage, but I wasn't in the same shoes I'm in today when this conversation came up. So I didn't know how to engage. I'll say that. So I just let it die off. But I have family that believes all religions are the same, is just a different side of the same mountain, and they all lead to the same place. And that's part of that coexist thing. Well, if we're all going to the same place, what's it matter which which path you follow?
What do you think Jesus would have told you to do? If you could talk to Jesus, what do you think he would have told you to do for that situation? How would you think he would want you to handle that?
Well, when this conversation took place, I was nowhere near what my walk today, and I didn't know how to answer it. I literally didn't have an answer for it.
All right, but now, if it happened again now, how would you deal with it?
I would go to this verse. I would go to this verse, do the context, and say Jesus says he is.
And when they disagree with you, how far do you take it?
I think it would just depend on the situation.
Because I think that's an important thing for
It
Christians
is,
to
I mean-
understand. Because, in my opinion, I could be the odd man out here. I could be totally wrong on this, but I think I can't remember the exact verse in Scripture. But Jesus basically told them don't argue with
Mhm.
with people about right or wrong. If they want to be wrong, you told them the truth. You told them your side of the story. If they still don't believe you, then walk away. And he told them that again when he sent them out 2 by 2. If you go to a house and your peace isn't on the house. Shake the dust
Those
from your
are-
feet and
and
go
that's in
somewhere
Matthew.
else. Yeah.
That and that's
But I
somewhere
mean,
in
I've
Matthew.
always thought Charlie Kirk handled that the best I've ever seen with somebody who was obviously just, he claimed to be a Christian, but yet he was just adamant and very forceful with, he's got to tell them that they're sinning and they've got to listen to him and they've got to change their ways. And I'm just sitting there going, that ain't your role, bro. I mean,
Right.
you told them that they're living in sin. The same as, I could be convicted 50 times a week for lust or covetousness or lying or whatever the case is, whether it's a little tiny white lie or not. I mean, I imagine to God, there's no, you're not going to get away with that one. Well, she asked me if she's fat. What'd you want me to say? I mean, I just don't think. I love using that one. But
I think that's righteous indignation. Falls into that category. Right?
But I think that a lot of
Yes,
times
sweetheart.
Christians have brought it on themselves by being holier than thou and telling somebody you're living in sin and just really getting in the middle of their business, and it's kind of like, what was the verse for take the log out of your eye before you try to move the speck out of somebody
That's
else's
in
eye? I think we
Matthew 7.
overstep our
Or
bounds.
speaking the truth in love.
You're right.
And we'll go.
And it's
through,
one thing just to-
and we'll go through that in the Sermon on the Mount, but
And it's
but
one
yeah.
thing, like Charlie would always get addressed with that about homosexuality or whatever, and he would say, it's sin. But basically what he told that guy was, that's as far as you go with it. It's none of your business what people do behind closed doors. You're not the religion police,
Right. I mean,
and
Or the morality police.
morality police, yes, thank you.
Right.
And so,
And, and I think that's where we get in trouble when we do that.
yes.
And I think it's a legitimate critique of Christianity. We're not supposed to be, we're supposed to show the way and the truth, and we're not supposed to stand back and, there again, like I said in Sunday school this morning, there's one class of people, and that's sinner. And
You did miss that.
that's
Yeah.
we don't get to draw a line down a piece of paper. That's just one sheet of paper.
mhm.
But we
wrong.
love, as human beings, we love to do that. Well, my sin's not that bad. At least I'm not as bad as them. But
No,
I hate to break it
doesn't-
to you,
it
but
doesn't
you're on the
matter.
same side of the scale.
We're on the
It's,
same piece of
It's
paper.
the Pharisee on the corner praying, and I'm glad I'm not like that guy.
Right.
Right.
And in fact, that's one of the verses we're going to use next week as one of the examples that's going to be used next week.
Right.
So,
Well, you didn't do it in the right order.
yeah, that was said this morning. But who's sitting up front? That's all I want to know.
Well,
I am doing it. I think I'm doing it in the right order.
It's not me, so I
I-
don't care
no.
who's in it.
it says Eddie on the door. We're going to do it in the order that Eddie wants.
yeah, I'm probably going to get in trouble. I'm
no.
sorry. I should not have said that.
I just set stuff up, and then next week we're going to cover exactly what was asked for, with that context in mind. So we're doing good. We're doing good, and
Well, sometimes the Holy Spirit leads you in a direction that
well, see,
We
and
need
I
to be
felt,
glad.
and I felt very strongly about this, and it's okay for people to say. It helps me if you do this, and as a teacher, I need to be able to respond to that and say, yeah, I mean, and see if I can't do that, see if I can't accommodate, but I can't accommodate every whim every time, and I don't intend to. But I do intend to teach truth and to be as accurately, or to be to have as much fidelity to truth in Scripture as I possibly can, and that's my responsibility, is to teach Scripture, to teach the
Right.
truth.
I think it boils down to that. Whenever we are approached, how far do we take it? How extensively do we persist? Do we leave it alone when emotions begin to rise? or do we stir that pot because we're really good at it? Or, where do we go? And at the end of the day, we are told if they don't want to hear it, stop.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to stand on principle and truth, not of what we believe is principle and truth, but we are given is principle
Well,
and
There's our
truth.
Let me
standard.
jump back to what you just said, just real quick. You said when we are approached. Let's just say we're out. Let's say we decide that the four of us are going to work the little market, right? We're going to set up a booth, and the ladies made some bake sales, and we're going to sell them. We're raising money for the church, right? And let's just say a couple of guys walk up holding hands, right? Now, do you think the right approach is just say, hey, how are y'all doing? This is what we've got. Ignore the fact of what's going on in front of you, even though every fiber in your being wants to say something. You don't. You just treat them as human beings and like people, and we don't, you get the conversation flowing to where you can introduce, we're with First Baptist Church. Do y'all have a church you go to? Even though you already kind of know the answer to it, it's still a conversation starter to open up that dialogue, because I think that that's one area that we fail at. And it's important that we address the human side of it before we go trying to jump in and address the sin.
So,
we've had that conversation before.
So to answer yours, I'm going to take the conversation in the direction it's going until something is said that is going to be forced to address.
But do you? There's really, but is there a reason to in any shape, form, or manner? Is there a reason to dress that, other than just taking it on? Do y'all have a church? Do you know Jesus? Is there
I think
any
that's the
reason to
question.
address that the fact that they're holding hands, or the fact that they're homosexual, and the fact that it's a sin?
Well,
Because
let me
as
ask
we
you-
covered,
well,
we've
let me
all
ask
got
you-
our own sin. Why are you going to that first when you got the opportunity just to talk about Jesus?
Well,
And if they don't
that
want to hear that,
part-
there's no reason to address their sin with them at all.
That part to me, because yes, we all agree that is sin. That sin in their life, in my mind, is between them and Christ.
Absolutely.
And it is just my job to make sure they know who Christ is.
Right. I agree.
Right.
And I
So-
think too many
So I
times we
think
don't
a
do that.
legitimate question would be, especially in the situation that they were in, and I think that it would actually shock them if you asked them that question. Do
What
you have
question?
a church home?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I think that would be shocking enough to them,
Mm-hmm.
especially if, as you described, they walk up holding hands or arm
I'm just
around
trying to
them.
make it
Right,
apparent
right, right,
that
right.
Ray Charles could see that what's going on. But-
Right.
So what?
But I'm gonna hang on just a second, Eddie, and I'll let you have it back. I promise. One of the things that both of the pastors that we were dealing with. Now, I didn't get a chance to talk to.
Ulti,
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk to him a lot.
the last.
Yeah. So, but they are talking to Muslims, and almost 90% of the people that they engage with are Muslims.
Mhm.
Yes.
And what they said the best strategy to witnessing to Muslims is to get to know them
Mm-hmm.
and to get them, that now they trust you, they understand you, you're part of their life, you're not going to run off away from them. You're going to be somebody that they can depend on and not a fair weather friend, kind of thing. So, I mean, to your point, I think that what we need to do as Christians is we need to come in that love, right?
And
hey, do you have a church home? Do you know Jesus as your Lord
exactly,
and Savior?
and that's one of my
And I
biggest
think
problems.
that's a legitimate question
Is
to ask
I
somebody.
watch so many videos where you see these street preachers coming out and they go to a pride rally or a pride parade or whatever, and they
just
got their
start blasting
loudspeaker
them.
and they start knowing, do you know Jesus? He loves you. You should quit living in sin. I'm like, you just attacked them right out of the gate.
Right.
You attack. Granted, I agree with you 1,000%. But nobody's going to listen to you now.
No,
You
no,
just
but
ticked them off, and now they're mad. So now what are you going to tell them?
At that
Instead of just
point,
going out
you're
and just
there
going,
to
what are
get
y'all here to
clicks.
do? And
That's
just
it.
talk to them. Oh, this is neat. Y'all got a cool little parade going, blah, 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 and just
Yeah.
getting to know
What's
them
it
on
about?
a personal level. And
Well, I also
I'm sorry.
think of it. No, we're good. Think about Jesus at the well with the woman.
With the
Mhm.
Samaritan woman.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
The first thing he said was not about that
Hey,
you
you're-
had 5 and
Yeah.
this one's not yours and
He
Yeah.
simply asked her for a drink.
for a drink. And he opened the conversation. And, we're all smart enough to read the room.
Right.
And you need to do so. But we also need to be bold and have some sense about this approach. Not to do damage to the kingdom of God,
Right.
but also to
Well, but
bring it forward. And like Jesus did, we address them, and he put it right into the conversation where it could be directed that way, where there could be a pointing back to your life to God.
sure.
And so that's kind of how I think about it. But I'm of late, these latter years of my life, feeling a greater need to push that envelope a little better and to do it where I don't, because some people are just going to be, they're going to be caused offense by the fact that you speak Jesus to them,
Mhm.
and we all know that. So I'm not talking about that, but I don't want the first thing out of my mouth to them to be offense.
right.
But in the end, speaking the truth in love and not being a horse's tail about it,
Is going to offend
it's
people.
going to
I mean,
offend.
Of course it is, but my point was that it's not anything that I think any of us have done. It's what I've seen on
Yeah,
TV, what
right.
I've seen on social
Yes.
media, and they're
Well-
just going out and they're arbitrarily creating conflict right out of the gate, and it's like,
Well, that's why
like
the
we
Christian
said,
population gets such a bad name.
Absolutely.
It's because of that kind
Right.
of stuff.
and I think it's just more of we need to get to know them on a personal level. Look, it's one thing go after. I always think, well, you wouldn't go after an alcoholic like that, would you? No, if you
Well, yeah,
if
that's
you
what
met
I
an
was going to ask
alcoholic,
you. Would you, walking down Walmart and they're in the beer aisle,
yeah.
would you, hey, you're drunk, you're alcoholic,
Exactly.
that's
No,
how-
you wouldn't. You would.
No, you
you would
wouldn't.
invite them to church, and then you would slowly work on them, and slowly hope that they turn to Christ, and that He'll change their lives. Because
Mhm.
But
you're
that's-
not going to change
well,
their
That's why
lives.
my store of choice for evangelism is Lowe's.
yeah.
You like the Lowe's
You don't
I
have-
like Lowe's.
Yeah, so
That's
you don't.
right.
There's nothing.
We got, hey, what size nail you looking for? They had these in Jesus' hands. Right there.
Well,
So,
I can
don't
tell
know.
you, Jesus walked in Walmart. He would say, "The harvest is plentiful, and the workers are few.
Yeah, that would be
Let's
true.
go, boys."
But I mean, yeah. To your point, I wouldn't walk up to somebody, that was doing something that I thought was morally wrong and stick a gun to their head and go, "You're wrong."
Yeah.
That's to me that would be difficult for me to do because I understand that I am a sinner, and I keep on I am going to argue with Paul when we get up there that when he said he was the chief of sinners,
Hey, I want to be in on that conversation. So I want to popcorn,
I know
easy chair, the whole thing.
I know if he was the chief of sinners, I was at least one of his generals. so I'm probably going to argue that I'm chiefer than he is. But there again, I'm serious when I said this morning that, I do it. I do it. I'm sectarian as all get out, and I don't want to be anymore. I don't want to be. I don't want that line across down the piece of paper, us and them. That's fine if we're playing 42.
Yeah.
and I need to keep score, and there's a reason for us to us and them. But there's only one.
A&M in Texas and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. Why should I be?
understand.
Why should I be Why should I? Why should I wish that on somebody from the University of Texas? And why don't I feel? I feel bad for Oklahoma.
Well, I feel
But why?
I don't, but I don't feel bad for my cousins because they live in Oklahoma and I live here, and so they always say rude things, OU,
Right.
and I've refrained, and I know they're up there right now, which is bugging the mess out of them that I
Yeah.
haven't spoken to them
Spoken, yeah.
about this. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna let it. I'm gonna let them.
I don't want to hear about your
cook a little
cousin's
bit.
problems. I married one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm serious.
Yesterday was awesome.
we're
I don't
lucky.
have to hear it for another year. It's over. Conversation's over.
Was it hostile in your house
Oh
yesterday?
my gosh.
Okay,
But,
guys.
but we're one sheet of paper, and
Yeah.
there isn't a line down it. We're centers.
We're sinners.
Yeah.
And then there's sinners saved by grace. So, yes, that's true. All right.
Take it
Shane,
away,
guys.
lead us out.
Thank y'all for being here today. We all actually, I think Shane's the only one who doesn't have a meeting except with his dryer and washer.
That's right.
So we all have a meeting coming up within less than 15 minutes. So guys, thank them and y'all for being here this week. I'm looking at 3 to 4 more weeks of some one-offs, and probably the first Sunday of December we will start our Sermon on the Mount. So we'll only get 1 or 2 recordings in on December, so that'll be just how it is.
Okay.
But
Cool beans.
looking forward to the Sermon on the Mount to start dropping after the first of the year, and I'll get a couple stacked up there. So until then, guys, we will see y'all next week.